Okay, thank you for joining us. So the next talk will be about recent advances in privacy and collaboration by Fabrice.
So, thanks for the introduction. So I will present CryptPad today, and as Clément said, like recent advances actually in CryptPad, not in privacy and collaboration. I mean, yes, it is part of it. And so I'm Fabrice Mouhartem. I'm a cryptographer, and I'm one of the developers of. I'm part of the CryptPad team, and now I shall present you what. Okay, it's not working. What CryptPad is. So, first of all, CryptPad is a collaborative office suite, like really an office suite with many different applications. And actually, even in this screenshot, this cascade of screenshots, there is one missing. There is not the diagram apps, which helps making like nice diagrams, but we have a large span of different applications. So, I don't know why it did this. So we have like all the Office usual suspects like spreadsheets, document, and presentation, and also other things like Markdown editing, rich text edition, which is a bit different from documents because it's really like to produce rich text documents and not like typesetted document, and some whiteboard apps and actually other things for collaboration like Kanban and forms, which we don't have, which we don't have in other aspects in end-to-end encrypted fashion. And as I said, also diagram, like just the diagramming apps where you can make things as nicely as you want. And the thing that, so as I said, it's an online collaborative office suite, and the main difference with other solutions, it's open source and it's end-to-end encrypted, meaning that you don't need to trust us to have your data stored with us. And it has been born at XWiki 10 years ago. It actually started as a small a research project, like just to have real time in XWiki, which is a wiki which you will see other presentations today. And so that's where the name comes from, CryptPad, where it's a bit misleading because you will think that it's just like Etherpad, for instance, encrypted, but in the end it's an all office suite. And actually not many people know that, but that's a bit sad on our side. And it's false. It's AGPL v3 as a license, and we have like this project website, and we also host as XWiki as a company also hosts the flagship instance CryptPad.fr, which is one of the biggest one that is actually in use. And then there is a question, like I said, that it's end-to-end encrypted, but then why do we need to have end-to-end encrypted like office things? So the thing that the biggest actors in Office will be like Microsoft and Google, and they are not really known for like respecting GDPR. There are other things with that the data may be stored in the US. Both are US companies which are not really compatible with EU laws, and especially these days it becomes worse and worse. But I mean that like it's kind of important, and the thing that there are many like institutions where they have the need of using office suites, and like schools, for instance, and then there are sensitive data, for instance, children's data, which may be stored in these unsafe environments. So that's where we come, and we want to say like yes, in this context with CryptPad, you can have both real-time collaboration, something that is quite easy to use, where you don't need to have like all this knowledge about cryptography, about like how things work, like for instance with PGP, where even like trying to getting started, like the onboarding step is kind of complicated because then you have a list of different keys you need to check, and so we do all this. I mean, CryptPad does all these choices for you and gives you like something that doesn't change a lot from your everyday use. Also with other things that obviously are missing because we are doing everything like in a secure manner. For instance, like password recovery, we don't have it because we have no way to link one of your drive in our storage and your username. We need like both username and password, and we can do anything from that. And so, yeah, there are some things missing, but we try to give you like as the best user experience as we can provide in this context. And how do we do that? So the development is made like mainly on GitHub. I know it's not the best way to do it, but at least we can reach a large community. And the development is led by the CryptPad team, which is hosted at XWiki, and which is made of 9 people, which I'm glad to be part of. And we have a quarterly release where we moved from to calendar versioning like this year, because we noticed that semantic versioning doesn't mean a lot for a product that is like basically running release. Like we are basically like here every quarter we made a new release with all the bug fixes, all the improvements, all the features in it after like a strict release calendar with testing and everything as much as you can do with our team. And if you need anything, like we have different ways to contact us. So inside the CryptPad, we have an end-to-end encrypted support system, which uses like actually the CryptPad mechanism to do this. Actually, I won't enter into details on how it works. For that, there are other resources and even other talks I gave, for instance, at Pass the Salt last year. So let's come back. So we have also like GitHub issues, community forum, and matrix space if you need like have to ask like a quick question. If you are like, for instance, hosting your own instance and you want to have some help on that, matrix can be the nice place to be. Community forum, if you have a question, you're not sure if you need to open a GitHub issue, or simple debugging on your instance, and then GitHub issues for really development parts. We try to keep everything like really separated this way. And so now the introduction is done, and let's see what have we done in CryptPad like in the past year. So one big change one big thing is on OnlyOffice. So if you are using CryptPad, you may know that so we have different applications, and if you are we are using OnlyOffice for the Office part, for the main for the core of it, and so there are like spreadsheets, documents, and presentation. And if you have a free account on CryptPad.fr, or even if you are hosting your own instance, by default, you will only have access to spreadsheets. And one reason for that was some stability issue we had with OnlyOffice, because if you also know like how OnlyOffice works, basically it's mostly the client, which is AGPL, which is open source, which has an AGPL license, and then on the server it's a little bit more complicated. And in our side, what we are doing is basically hacking the client, and we are emulating a server with CryptPad, which will replace the patches that OnlyOffice does. So we are working directly with OnlyOffice's patches, and it leads sometimes, because it has been something that has been hacked to work, with stability issues, especially with other apps than spreadsheets, because spreadsheets, basically the atomic part will be a cell, and then you will have less. It's less error prone than documents where actually OnlyOffice sends a lot of changes. The patch are like kind of complicated when you are changing something in a paragraph and stuff like that, and also for presentations. But the nice thing is that in 2024 we improved the stability a lot, and actually those two applications which were in basically in beta, will be released in the next. I think it will be in the next weeks, and at most in the next release, which will be in March. So I keep stay tuned for that. And also we want to upgrade it to OnlyOffice 8, which has been released, and brings new features for OnlyOffice. And now there are other changes as well in accessibility. So basically what we want to have will be the 2.8 AA Web Content Accessibility Guidelines compliant. And for that we have different focuses, like our team focuses on keyboard navigation, having it working as much as possible in CryptPad. We had a lot of bug fixes to do around it, but yeah, you can mostly use keyboard navigation to do almost everything in CryptPad. It may not be the most usable, but at least it's doable. There are also like focus indicators, like when you are focusing something like in the UI, you need to see really where the focus is, especially when you are like navigating with keyboards, and obviously some responsive design, which will be linked to usability in mobile as well. So you want to have things that can be used in many different devices. And for that, we did last year an accessibility scan, actually 2 accessibility scans in last August, which was done by HN University in the Netherlands and Technical University of Applied Science in the Netherlands. And so it targets like WCAG 2.2, which is basically 2.1, but with extra, minor changes. Some changes, and it's strictly stronger than 2.1. And it has done for apps. So Nodit was done for different apps and for the drive, which is where you arrive when you connect on CryptPad, and which will list all your files because it's 2 different interfaces, and we wanted to have them assessed differently. And at the end of this accessibility scan, basically the issues are labeled on GitHub with Han accessibility scan August. But the thing that actually the audit says that the suite is quite accessible already. I didn't put the one for Drive, which basically said that the Drive is very good and well labeled, which is not the case for all the apps, because basically we have integrated many different apps and we want to have them working nice together. And then we have other like contrast issues and things that we want to address, but it's already in our roadmap, it's in our issues tracking, and we hope to handle them as soon as possible. Also, on a similar note, like there have been advances in mobile, on mobile, like on the usability of CryptPad on mobile. We had some good reports about it, and the thing that here the goal has been to improve the UI responsiveness, having things nice on mobile and improve the mobile experience. Unfortunately, due to the way CryptPad is because we have everything integrated, and the way everything is loaded is not really mobile friendly as for now. So even if we are like having improvements on like the mobile experience, we still have a lot of bottlenecks, a lot of issues to tackle before having something very smooth, and that can work on many different mobile devices. Obviously, if you have a very good mobile phone, it will work on, at least as in a manner similar to a computer experience, but not yet. So the thing that what we did was to have all elements that are easily accessible and visible on mobile. So basically, it's a responsiveness thing, but basically when you are on mobile, you want to have things bigger so that you can press on it with your big fingers. At least me, I need that. And so that's the thing, like with optimized scaling and on all the elements, and especially like those that can be quite small. And also, yeah. And now, as I said, like we need like to have, there are some bottlenecks on the mobile part, and those are actually like in the architecture of CryptPad. And we did also some improvement, like not really on the architecture, but on the server side, which is just there for the to enable the synchronization. But the thing that one of the things we provided this year, because we met actually in CryptPad, we met like some scalability issue, and it was basically because of the cryptography plugin, cryptography library, sorry, that was used in our server to verify the signatures. Basically, when you are sending a patch before committing it into our servers, we verify that the signature on the encrypted data is a valid one. And this verification step part was very heavy. And the reason was that we're using tweet and ACL, which is cryptographic library, a sodium library in JavaScript. in full JavaScript, which is like quite simple, which is really small, like in terms of number of characters, but which is not the most optimized for hardware. And so we used Sodium native, like basically, which will call the native Sodium library in your server. In our server, and as we have an open source license, especially AGPL, which basically tells us to when we are providing a service to show what we do. So we also like provide it to the community as a cryptographic plugin. As a plugin on our GitHub. And if you have an instance and you meet this kind of scalability issues, like there's actually a blog post tutorial on it. And don't worry, like the slides are already on the FOSDEM website.
Yes. Divided by 2 the CPU
used
in the server.
Yeah. So as Ludo said, like we divided by 2 the CPU usage on the server with this simply by changing this. But yeah, if you have a smaller instance, it may not be very useful. But yeah, for us, we have a big instance. I will show you some figures at the end about the use of CryptPad. We also added like some monitoring plugin because, as I said, we have some figures, and before that it was mostly log analysis, but we needed like some more fine-grained like measurements, especially like on your different actions. While not leaking document parts, it will just be like counting, for instance, how many time, for instance, you will download an image, which can be useful for us. And actually, this one is not a good example because you can also have it with log analysis, but yeah, like for more fine-grained monitoring. And so we hope in the future that it will help us like understand more how people are using CryptPad, because we have our own idea of what CryptPad is. We are also like in our team, we are like obviously a lot of people in the tech industry, and so we may not know how people will use our product in the real world, because then we just like give it for people to use. So yeah, that's the thing. And the main point will be to monitor the usage, the data usage to have data that we can use on Grafana and Prometheus, and that are grabbed with Prometheus. Also, one thing that can be nice for different companies will be some single sign-on plugin. Actually, it dates from last year, but there have been some improvements on it, and we can use the main SSO system like OIDC and SAML, and you can have both actually if you want. You can have many single sign-on systems on a single instance, and it's kind of important for organization. And we also added like something that was requested is like SSO login. Restriction. Login only via single sign-on, and also you can add on top of it like also your own password in order to keep your data really private. And as I said, like we had some scalability issues, and one way to address this was to develop a new server prototype, which is distributed actually, because right now our server is really is a single server. Has to be running on a single machine. All the code has to be run on a single machine. So yes, so this is something I actually led last year, and so it's an independent prototype for the main code base, and we hope to integrate it at some point. It's still very exploratory. We just started having our different components and have them communicate one to each other. The results are quite encouraging, but yeah, we hope to finish it and include it in a real server and have this, be done with this bottleneck and have something that will be scalable in the future. One other thing that have been done this year have been end-to-end testing with Playwright. So there is a repository that is available on GitHub, and we use Playwright to have some automated end-to-end testing. So basically, simulating like real-world actions. There is also an integration with Browser Stack for different, to be used on different platforms. And we also test accessibility with it, with the Axe core framework. And there are about 300 tests to check like break-in changes before releases, before each release. And actually, some bugs were discovered with automated testing. You also saw that there were some tests that didn't pass, and in the previous screenshot, it was not one of them, but actually, there are also like some issues that we integrate in the test engine, the test suite, so that we also know like when we are solving like some issues because sometimes like with side effects you can solve other bugs, and we also have like a dedicated test instance for the releases for that. And one thing that that people have asked us a lot is client-side API, because basically the thing that as everything is end-to-end encrypted is we provide the web application, and that's basically all we are providing. It's hard to use like in other in other contexts. Actually, it's not a server-side API, which would be really nice to have, which will, for instance, allow us to like connect our calendar to other applications, because right now we cannot. But here it's a client-side API which allows you to use CryptPad as a synchronization tool like elsewhere. And the goal is to use, to have an end-to-end encrypted editor without any data persistence that you can use in other contexts. And we also have an integration with Nextcloud for the OpenDesk project for this. And so that was what was new on the CryptPad development part. And now I will tell you a bit about our main instance and how we are managing it. So basically, the thing that we had some low quality of service issue at the beginning of last year. Our server was like crashing, or like was very very low. Slow to answer, and that's what I said with our scalability issues and everything. And the thing that what we did the obvious thing, like, is to give more resources, to put more resources on it, but it won't solve the issue in the long term. And so there have been also like this crypto library change to solve this. And we also changed the file system we use, because actually in CryptPad, our database is the file system. And so it's really dependent on the performance of the file system. So before that, we had BTRFS, and we had issues with it, especially, And so now we moved to ZFS, and the data access is also faster. And all in all, like, it makes CryptPad like more reliable nowadays. On the CryptPad part, we also introduced like CryptPad Cloud at the end of last year, which basically allows you, which is a form that will allows you like to create a cloud demo instance, like simply like with some clicks create on the CryptPad.cloud, a subdomain of CryptPad.cloud, like create a CryptPad instance, and then explore like the different, the administration part of CryptPad and the CryptPad Cloud features. If you want to try it, you can go on CryptPad.org at the bottom of the page. And then customize it as you need, for your needs. Because for instance, you may want like one CryptPad instance for your associations or for your company, and it can be a way to create it like easily and have like, that we will host it, but as an independent instance and not as part of CryptPad.fr, and and the thing, and you can manage your own instance with our helps as well if you have a paid instance. And on the usage statistic part, like I said before, I will give you like some insight. The thing that like we have on the CryptPad.fr instance, like basically 6.5 thousand people like registering like every month on CryptPad, and the pad activity is actually how many times, one pad activity is counted when you open a pad or create one. And so basically there is 1 million pads open per month. So that's to give you an idea of how much traffic we have to handle.
And that's just on CryptPad.fr.
Yeah.
We don't
No,
know
no, yeah.
for the other instances.
I mean, we don't know for the other instances. Yes, it's only for CryptPad.fr. Is the instance we are managing. And also, like in terms of unique IP addresses, it's not exactly how many people, but it gives a rough idea. We also had like 20% more of people using CryptPad per month. And all the figures are actually like monthly average. So in the end, like there is like something like 70,000 people, like new registrations last year for free account. And one other thing that is kind of like funny to look, like not doesn't give a lot of information, but it's kind of interesting. So most of our users are actually from the United States, like more than a quarter, and a little bit less. I mean, and with Germany, it's like exactly half of our users. Before that, it was mainly Germany, but yeah. And actually, as you I forgot to say, but CryptPad, hosted as CryptPad.fr, is from a French company, and actually there is only 7% of people from France using it, and yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Is that possible that it's related to the fact that many Tor exit nodes are in Germany?
It may be possible because we are only we only analyze IP addresses and GeoIP. So, yeah, sorry. The question is like, do I think that it may be related to the Tor nodes? I mean, exit node distributions. And my answer is that it's maybe possible because we don't have that many data to analyze. So yeah, it's a possibility. And now for the funding status of CryptPad. A neat question. So we have transparent management. So like actually we just published, Ludovic here wrote the funding status of last year, which is on our blog. And to summarize it, basically we have medium-term financing with research projects, which gives us basically 2-3 years of safety. However, it's on research projects, and then it's also have it's not really, we cannot use it as we want. It's really like oriented. And the thing that we don't achieve sustainability. So as I said, like we had 74,000 new accounts. Basically, we reached this year the 270,000 accounts, like free registered. But in the end, we reached on Wednesday the 10,000 paid subscription on CryptPad. The 1,000 subscription on CryptPad. So you can see that it's not a very good conversion ratio, but rate. But yeah, we need like basically more independent revenue streams. We also have donations like for different donators on open collectives, and as I said, like. We have many different projects like funded by BPI funds. That is which is our main medium-term financing. We also received like money from NLNet and NGI, NGI 0 and more generally NGI, and European Union as well. But yeah, we're not. We don't know how it will go, but if you want to learn more about it, actually there will be a talk from Ludo at 10:30 tomorrow in the first funding room. And so basically to conclude, so the CryptPad project has progressed on many different fronts. We had like progresses in different fronts, and which are kind of which are important, like accessibility, which is really important. We want to make it, basically, our main point is not to give, our main point is to give something that people can use, everyone can use, while knowing that behind it's secure. So UX is really important here, and we had improvement on UX UI on this. We had improvement on UX UI and also some backend improvements that you won't feel like directly, but that we had to do to make it still usable, at least on CryptPad.fr. And there are also like new plugins for the CryptPad ecosystem. We hope to have more in the future, and that can be used like that you can install as a server administrator, depending on your needs. So if you need SSO, you can install the SSO plugin, but it's not there by default, and so on. And on the product side, then we have like as you see that there is like 20-30% growth on CryptPad.fr. There are more and more people using it. We hope that it will continue. And actually, for the 1,000 people, there will be a promotion code next week, I guess. So stay in touch. And if you want to have your own CryptPad instance, you can also you can also use CryptPad Cloud if you want. And for the next steps, so here is the QR code for the roadmap. And actually, if you go on the slides online, those are clickable. You don't have to scan them actually to open the link. There will be some works on post-quantum integration. So what it means that we want to have like something that is more crypto agile, and where basically we can go. We can have hybrid encryption. So meaning that we will encrypt with post-quantum. Quantum secure encryption and layered with classical. Standard one of the standard. What we have today. Actually, it's not free encryption, it will be signature that is most important in our case, but yeah. So there will be works on it this summer with an intern. We will continue as well the efforts on accessibility that is ongoing and mobile usage. We also will have another focus on the quality of life improvement. So if you are using CryptPad here and you need more improvements, don't hesitate to contact us and ask things. We will take it into account. There is also one other thing that has to be done this year, with the replacement of CK Editor 4, which end of life was last year. 2020. Yeah, 1.5 years ago, for Rich Text Edition, which we may replace with other things. It's in the roadmap. And also, as I said, the OnlyOffice upgrade. And so all of this is provided by you by the CryptPad team, which I said is made of 10 people. So yeah, thank you for your attention. And if you have questions, I think we have 8 minutes or something.
Thank you. So we have questions. I think.
Yeah.
Let's consider a case when a few users, let's say 3 users, are collaborating on a document at the same time, changing one paragraph of text.
Yeah.
So conflicts between their changes are likely, yes? And moreover, on top of that, some users may have network issues and their updates are coming with a delay. Do you handle such cases? Because in an end-to-end encrypted setup, it may be quite tricky.
Yeah, actually, here the trickiest part will be the network issue, because actually the thing that as we are doing it, we are sending the patches in a very small patches, it will be 1 to 3 letters, as you type, and something like 300-400 millisecond delay. So there will be really small patches. But then when you say that, usually when you are working on the same paragraph and it's also real time, and you see the cursors of other people, so usually you see when you are going to create a conflict. And as those patches are really small, there won't be that many conflicts. However, when there is this network issue, and as you said, they are editing the same paragraph, so there is a probability that they are editing the same thing, then basically I think what will happen, what will mostly happen, is that the people who will have a good connection will continue editing their things, and it will create a fork there, which will be small, and our conflict resolution in this context will be taking the longest branch. So basically, the smallest branch will disappear, but then when the person will have a bad connection, will come back, they will see that it just disappeared. Yeah.
Considering the legal topic to GDPR, do I get it right that derived by the zero knowledge architecture, it is not necessary for your customers to have a data processing agreement with you? Or is this necessary if I use this in a business environment?
Oh, this actually I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I can talk. Frankly, not sure. So the answer would be you still need it. Actually, it would be nice that the GDPR says if you are really making data impossible to be seen or to be, then you would need it. But I don't really think that it completely waives the need for a DPA. And we do provide DPAs only for 25 user subscriptions at €500 a year. So if a school or something like that wants a DPA to be fully compliant with GDPR, they can get it on CryptPad FR at €500 a year or €1,000 a year, depending on the number of users. But we don't provide it for individual accounts because it's just it's a huge paperwork. We have to sign documents and stuff like that, and we don't want to sign something just for free or for €5 because we also need some revenue. So that's the difficulty.
Yes, so I was very interested by CryptPad, but there is two limitations or problems for me or for the organization. The first one is the two blocks of text of it, right panel, left panel on the screen. I try to have a full screen, but I don't succeed in that. So it was for me very important, and Nextcloud Office or OnlyOffice was better, but it needed a server framework. And so the CryptPad was, for me, it's a good alternative to Google Workspace, which is not safe, not user-friendly, and so on. And so the other problem is the lack of guest mode invité in French. So the possibility to have temporary access for other people, very with easy, not complicated tools, only to test or to try CryptPad. So I have not discovered this kind of thing. And so, okay.
Thank you for your interest in CryptPad and what you want about the UI UX. Actually, I don't really understand. What do you mean by guest mode? Like,
so it's the possibility for other people, so to test if it is convenient for them, but temporarily. It's possible with Nextcloud, this kind of thing, and after the given date, it is this facility is suppressed. So it will be good to have this kind of thing.
Yeah, I see. Okay, yeah, because
actually, I think CryptPad is very easy to test. You can go to CryptPad FR, you can create a document in 2 clicks. You can create a document with any of the pads. You can create an account, so it's actually very simple to test. So, but for anybody can do, and you can share the document with anybody. Yeah, I mean, even if you pay an account, you can actually share with any people. They don't have to pay. So you can actually test very easily. From my point of view, you can test more easily than Nextcloud, where you have to install the server and so on. If you want to test, if you want like an enterprise or an organization to test a full instance, CryptPad Cloud has been made for that. So we launched it in December, and you can create an instance and test it for 10 days, and see what it would mean to run an instance if it was inside your company.
How practical is it to self-host such a solution? I mean, as an organization, I would probably like to have an access to all the documents, internal organizational documents. Or isn't it always the case? I mean, let's say my employees share some document between themselves. Yeah. But me as an administrator, I can't see it, right?
No.
So what if the access to this document is lost? How to restore it, for example? What are the real use case for the self-hosting setup?
Okay, so I think there are many questions in one question. So first thing, like for organization, we have like something which is called teams, where you need like some team administrator and like having everyone in like your organization like in it, and so that like the files will be shared with all the people like which are part of the team. So on this side, it's okay. Then the thing that like for losing access to a file, it's basically stored in your drive or in your team drive like at some point. So it shouldn't be that. It should be complicated like to lose access to it, but it's still possible. But if you really lose access to a file and you lose the keys and you don't have anything in your browser history, which is one way to find your data, then you cannot do much. That's one of the things. I said like one of the limitations is like when you lose your password, you're basically done. And like.
Thank you very much, Fabrice.
Thanks, and thanks you all.